Hello, hello. Welcome to The Play That Changed My Life. I'm Patrick White. This podcast is brought to you by Harbinger Theater and OSM Studios. We have a supersized edition today. It's May in the Capital Region, so there are a dozen productions going on right now, and today actually is opening night of two separate productions represented here today. Over here I have Adam Coons and Sydney Davis, who are in the Confetti Stage production of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
And here is Isabelle Franco, who's playing Louise in Gypsy, and that's with Not So Common Players at the Edison Club. Hello, Isabelle.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing good.
Great. So it's opening night tonight, and I've got you here taping a podcast. That's crazy. What would you be doing if you weren't taping a podcast on opening night?
Well, my last show I did with Not So Common, I actually took the whole day off from work, but
Nice.
with my limited PTO, I only could take a half day today. So I'd probably either be working or I'd be sleeping.
I like to work on opening nights. You take the day off.
I've been taking the opening night off of shows for years now. I think since COVID ended, just to get like a recharge and
You nap?
no, not really. I do. I still get up this exact same time. I always get up because we have a 2.5-year-old. But and I work from home, so you would think that working from home not a huge deal when you're doing a show. But I don't have to. I can stay in my pajamas all day, just sit on the couch, watch TV, maybe play some video games, and that's relaxing for me.
Nice.
So,
Sydney, what do you do on opening night?
I also take it off usually. The place I work, I've worked like 7 years, and generally they're pretty understanding because they know that I do a lot of theater. So I'd probably be just resting, relaxing. I did get a new one of those steamers.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know how much it actually does, but I do love it, and it just feels nice.
Yeah.
Especially because sometimes I'm prone to losing my voice or for it to get really rough.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot in this show, so I've been the Gerthers pastilles and
Oh, the Gruthers, yeah. Gruthers pasta.
Gerthers.
So close.
Curse you.
It's the same difference.
Yeah, I like working the day up because it kind of distracts me. I can't think. I can't get nervous, if I'm working. And also, there's sort of that, I don't know, what is lunch bucket mentality. We're workers. We work all day, and then we go to the theater, and we get 6 hours sleep, and we're back at it. Yeah. The romanticism of doing community theater.
it gives me the opportunity.
And we don't get paid.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
I don't sleep.
You're not getting paid?
You're getting?
No.
Yeah, right.
It gives me the opportunity also to rememorize those lines that I haven't gotten since the rehearsal started.
Well,
Sydney knows what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right. And if I'm working, I have an excuse why I never got my lines. I was working too much.
Oh, maybe I should start working then.
Yeah, so
Solid excuse.
I have that 4-page monologue that's interrupted only by stage direction.
I have that, yeah.
And at the beginning of it, I was like, I'm so scared to have to memorize that, but it's kind of become my comfort zone because I just get to talk. Everybody has to listen.
yeah.
You don't have to, that's what I like about monologues is as long as you get the cue line for the next line right, what happens in the middle?
Oh, yeah.
I look at it.
I mean, Patrick will disagree with me, but
You ever feel, I had a show, The Real Thing, where the guy talked on and on. He had 3 monologues and multiple pages. And I'd get to the end of it and I felt so smart. It was such smart writing. And I'd get to the end of it and I'd say, I want to do that again.
Yeah.
Especially when you get it right, you're like,
Right.
let's do this again. Or some people be like, I just got it right.
Yeah.
I'm good. So
Nailed it.
nailed it. Let's move on.
Feel the same way when you did Faith Healer? I know Faith Healer was 3 acts and it was 3 monologues or something.
Yeah.
Faith Healer's.
The first time I got that monologue off book, you looked me dead in the face after, and you said this instead of that.
I did. There's a page.
It was word perfect.
So you were working on your antagonism.
Yeah.
You were getting under each other's skin. They are playing Ratchet and McMurphy, of course.
Oh my God.
2 stars.
Yeah. But I do that with everybody. I will be like, well, you see, as somebody who can't get one word lines right.
I have to say, Adam, when you did Dig last spring, the cast was it was an excellent cast, and first time working with Adam, I was very excited about the whole project. But Adam started insisting for his own needs to have the cast come to rehearsal like an hour and a half early to run lines, and I was like, I thank you so much.
Yeah.
It made the show. It was just like the essential. That the cast, and that it came from another cast member rather than me going, guys.
I think it was the 4-week total rehearsal process that scared me based on the number of lines.
You only had 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It was 4.
Oh, then that's a really smart idea.
Yeah, it was a 4-week rehearsal process, and we opened on the end of the 4th week. Yeah. And I said we have to. We can't just rely. And we've been doing it with Cuckoo's Nest too. Anybody who had time, even if it was a half an hour, just to run a scene or two. I have to rely. See, when I try to memorize, I can either memorize them in order and just try to. But I need somebody to be saying the cue line to me in order for me to be able to get the line. So I've been doing. I think Sydney has too. Line Learner, the app Line Learner, and I figured out a way to do it so I can run lines with somebody at home. My wife is great. She works until 5:30, 5:45. But on Line Learner, I just record the lines that come before mine. I don't record my own lines because I don't have a problem actually memorizing the actual line. It's knowing what comes before it.
Right.
So that has helped me a lot.
That's great.
Other than just memorizing
that. That's
my,
awesome.
my lines. So.
Never heard of that. That's fantastic.
I think it's like $1 on the App Store, and then you can either record yours and theirs and have a gap, or you just record yours, just record theirs, and it's great.
You can also pitch it up and down, which is super helpful because then if you're recording your own voice, you can have a hearable difference between your lines and everybody else's.
Oh my god, I love that.
Really nice.
If you have a lot of lines, it's very helpful.
It's one of the most
helpful.
ingenious things I've ever heard.
It's really, really helpful.
I have not. I actually use one of those dicta tapes. Or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah. Everybody has their own way of memorizing. My wife is very good at word perfect, so she'll take a pad of paper and she'll write the first letter of every word in the line, including punctuation and capital letters, and she'll look at it and say every word that each letter represents.
I feel like it's something else to memorize.
No, I got to tell you, I did it for the big long monologue about plants and the shrubbery or whatever in Dig. I did it that way, and it helped a lot.
Awesome. So
interesting.
Everybody has their own way of doing it.
Yeah. There's I saw listed on Capdist or something, someone teaching acting with the way to learn lines.
No.
It's like, oh, really?
Really?
I really like Line Learner because then I can hear the lines and I don't have to try to get my dyslexic brain to see everything correctly, because that's something that I struggle with learning a lot of lines, is that just looking at it, sometimes the words become not words, but it's really helpful to be able to hear it, and then also I can kind of follow along and I'm hearing it, so even if I'm not seeing it correctly, I'm being corrected by the auditory part, which is nice. Yeah.
Isabelle, you do a lot of musicals.
Oh yeah.
Is it ever hard to learn lyrics?
It depends on the song. If I love the show and recently I've been doing a lot of shows that I've just been truly passionate about due to my job and how long my hours are. As much as I love doing as many new shows as I can, if there's a show I really want to do, that's the one I tend to invest in, just because that's the time I can give to it. But usually I can pick up the song pretty quickly if there's some harmonies I'm not used to. Like in Gypsy, I have a duet with June, and I'm the lower part, and I'm not used to that. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, one more. It took me a long time to get there. It's just repetitiveness. That's how it works for me. I can pick up lines pretty quickly, but we just need to be repetitive.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel with it.
And the good thing with musicals is most of the time there's a soundtrack available. So you can at least get an idea. You know what I mean? I can read-music a little bit, but the best way for me to learn is listen. But nowadays, a lot of the soundtracks that you can get don't match what you're actually doing when you go to perform the show.
I was going to ask
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like, there are different versions.
Yeah.
There's definitely, especially if it's in a different key.
Yeah.
You're just
Yes.
like, you come into it, that is not the key I've been practicing in. And it's,
Would you look at that?
yeah, no, thank goodness the keys I've been working in have matched. But there's a couple in this show. I mean, I've been watching the West End version, so it's I base it off of that. So I've been like listening to that, but I like to keep an eye on different videos and songs and see how different people do it to get some inspiration.
Yeah.
So
Adam was saying that he would love to see me in a musical, and I was like, wait a second.
I would.
I have
bucket
done-
list.
I have
bucket
done-
list, Patrick.
I have done musicals.
But I haven't seen it.
I've done like 10 of them. And I've done a couple of Irish cops who coincidentally don't sing. They're, Irish cops don't sing, regardless of what the Pogues say.
let me get this straight: are you in musicals but you're not singing?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. It's just fun music role. And it's not like
you're in a musical.
I think.
and it's not like I'm mouthing the words. I have characters who don't
I
sing.
think
And
I.
it's-
Although I have been told to mouth the words.
Yeah, I think.
Look, I think there is not a heck of a lot I wouldn't do to see you and Patrick play the gangsters in Kiss Me Kate.
Oh,
Brush up your Shakespeare.
yeah.
I would do pretty
would do
much
that.
anything. I know, and I would see it every night.
I would do that.
I'd be there in the audience.
There's definitely a couple roles I can think of. Like, have you ever seen Urinetown?
Yes,
Yeah.
love it.
Lockstock is not
Yes.
necessarily
Chris was in
a
it with me.
singer.
He was in it with
played
me.
Lockstock.
Necessarily a singer.
Yeah, he was in it with me.
Like, he's not like a perfect singer.
Chris-
He's more of a
Well-
talk singer, and that's just like how it is.
Chris considers himself a singer. My partner.
I didn't think
so
he
he was-
I thought he was
Great.
very
It's gonna
good.
then it'll sound phenomenal.
I thought he was great in Urinetown.
His
Such a
song,
great show.
His,
Love it.
Love
his
that show.
audition song is "I Won't Send Roses." Is that it from Mac and Mabel?
Nobody knows Mac and Mabel, Patrick.
It's like I'm not familiar with
That's
that.
why he uses it as an audition song. Genius. Yeah.
they're like,
Where was I going with this? I know I met Isabelle doing a musical. We did,
we did.
Spring Awakening.
Spring
together.
Awakening.
But I had some other point about bringing that up.
You had said I never.
wanted to brag that you
I
were
want to
musical.
see you in a musical.
I wanted to say, yeah. I wanted to, yeah, music directors. Like, if you're learning the song, you learn it through repetition. Are the music directors at every rehearsal or a rehearsal pianist? Are you doing singing every rehearsal?
For not every rehearsal, at least for this show, it was not every rehearsal. We'd break it down. I think there was a couple rehearsals where we just did music, because if you've ever seen Gypsy, this show is actually more broken up than people think.
Yeah.
I consider Mama and I to be the main people on stage majority of the time.
Right.
And everybody else has scenes, but a lot of them have one scene and then they're done.
Yep.
So unless you double cast on certain roles, so we did it by character. So we had just anybody or if it's a big group song and they only have that one song, then they would come at 6 o'clock, then the next group would come at 7. But for me, and like Mama would have her own rehearsal, I'd have my own rehearsal, and it depends. But then there was the dance numbers we had to go through, and then you have our scenes. So it was a lot to break down and go
Yeah.
When does Louise show up with
Sheesh.
with the horse?
Oh no, you're so close. It's a cow. I've really dug into that kind of a character.
Yeah.
Uh,
Are you the rear? You are the rear end.
no, I am not actually.
You're not?
No. In the script, originally they put me in as the rear end, but she's the front now, so she should be fine.
I know. I've seen Gypsy,
wild-
and none of that rings a bell.
Oh, it's
a wild
it's
translation.
It's a very small moment in the show.
Okay.
She's just like they mentioned. She's
when they
like better than being the
transition.
rear end of a cow. She's like, I'm like, I don't remember the specifically. I'm not in that scene, but it's something about that.
It's when they transition from the children to the adults.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And we did it exactly how they've been doing. We have a strobe light, so if you do come see the show, be warned. Strobe lights. So, but
That's it.
yeah, that's
Ours
it.
just says trigger warning
It does. It
everywhere.
does. Yeah.
If it's a
We
trigger for
point out where it
you,
goes.
Strobe lights
Yeah.
and strippers.
But-
ours is if you think ours just basically says if
And
you have a
couple cow and
if you have a
cow here and
trigger.
Cow.
Ours, if you have a trigger, just assume it's happening. It's in the show.
Probably go.
Yeah, we usually but
Hydra bath.
yes, but we do have the kids and we do have our transition. They're in like the red, white, and blue scene, and we're all like doing the same movement in the and then we slowly
Yeah.
all like kind of switch. And I like from what I can see, it looks pretty cool, but obviously I'm on stage, I can't really see
Magic.
it. It's the magic of theater.
Magic.
So I've always been fascinated by that.
Who's directing your production?
Who's directing that? Sean Carter.
Very good.
He's great. He produced Little Shop that I did with them recently.
Oh, okay.
And he was great. He told me he's like when you get a chance, he's like, I'm doing Gypsy, and I was like, oh, I'm like you are. I've loved Gypsy for like 2-3 years. I saw it in like the West End version in college. We were breaking down stuff in a class and I loved it. And when he told me they were doing Gypsy, I was like, this is like the first I've ever heard of someone being like, we're doing Gypsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it is a beast of a show, especially if you're Mama, which shout out to Corey.
It's Corey.
Corey is
I can't
Oh my God,
imagine.
she's killing it.
I can't imagine that she's not killing it.
it's been a very long road to get where we are right now. It's just such an emotionally
She's-
draining show. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's been a blast though to do such an iconic show, and it's been great.
What kind of pit do you have?
Well, we have our orchestra. We have a lot of brass instruments. We have our piano player, and then we have our percussion. I didn't realize that it's mainly when I listened to the album on my way here, and I was like, it is mainly brass instruments and percussion. I didn't, because for some reason I thought there was more, and it was kind of cool when I walk out. I'm like, wait, this is all we have? And I listened to it, and I'm like, no, wait, no, this is it. Yeah,
That's
no.
right.
It's just
That overture just like kills me.
and
Like
our orchestra is killing it, so it sounds phenomenal.
Well, David Ross is your music director, right? Yeah,
Yes, he is.
he puts together a really good orchestra.
yeah,
I've worked with him
fantastic.
many times.
It's been really great.
that must be so exciting standing backstage and hearing that.
Yeah, we're right next to the band, and it was just, it's so like loud, and just like when you first like hear that band for the first, you're just like, oh, now it's really happening. This is
feel it
great.
in
Yeah, you don't see a full orchestra in much community theater anymore. It's
Not
more like
really.
a 5 or 6 person pit.
Yeah.
Trying to cover all the instruments.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
so common players still
mean,
sticks
Not
to
so
the,
common.
We-
It's
Still
the
sticks with the
exception.
full
And the
orchestra.
summer.
We do have about I think it's about 6 people. So I wouldn't say it's like an orchestra, but I consider it.
Well, they do when they do their summer shows at the park. They have 20 people in
Yeah.
the orchestra.
Yeah.
And it's just such a huge difference than having
Yeah.
2 pianos and then a couple of brass. And,
Yeah,
Yep.
it makes a huge difference. And I got to say, coming out of all the high school shows that were done recently,
Yeah.
you go to a high
God.
school musical, and they've got like 30, 40 pieces.
and they're all students too.
yeah, they're all students. I remember they would just come in and it would just be perfect. I'm like, okay, I don't know when you guys have time to do this, but that was
Yeah, I went to go see Shenandoah's Anything Goes, and it was just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And, the orchestra was a huge part of
Yeah.
it.
I saw a couple of the high school shows this year too, and I said, when I was in high school, the orchestras weren't this big or this good.
our pit was pretty big.
No shade thrown on my...
No, but the
back
talent,
in the
even
early
but even the
2000s.
talent, even the
Wait,
talent at the
reunion's
at high
going to be
schools.
tough for you.
I went to my high school show. And it was actually canned
You wanna
music,
say?
the sound system.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
tough.
controlled canned music, so you control the end when the music starts, the tempo and all that other stuff. When I did Beauty and the Beast at Park Playhouse a long time ago, and there was like 4 people in the pit, and the rest of it was all canned music.
Really?
Our music director was literally tapping on a key to keep the tempo.
That's
So
tough.
it's tough. It was tough. It was tough, but luckily we had that since the beginning of the rehearsal process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you can make it work.
the talent I've seen in some of the high schools recently is far outshined when I was in high school.
So I was going to talk about something else, but now that we're on this, who is your director of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Siobhan Shea.
Siobhan Shea. I've heard that name.
You have.
Siobhan, and I was mightily impressed with her direction of Pipeline at Sand Lake Center for the Arts. It was just, outside the box. Like, she did a lot of different things where there was projection. She had it acted out, and she used characters and the space in a different way. And what's she doing to Cuckoo's Nest?
I don't think we should give it away, Patrick.
Is it Cuckoo?
She does a lot of that. There's a lot of that in this show too. Things that you.
I'm so excited. I saw it's in the round.
It is.
I saw it's at the
Is it
Shaker
really?
site
Yep.
rather
Wow.
than the Masonic Hall.
Yep.
I saw you've got a floor, which
Yes.
is very
Yeah.
exciting.
It's very much institutional. The whole.
Yeah.
the whole
That is
space.
sweet.
There
Like a
is.
white tile floor.
Based on what you said about Pipeline, it's very
that's
much a
fantastic.
Siobhan Shea production.
It's really light and sound design heavy, which isn't super common in a play like
No,
this.
it's
but
very much. It's very
it
much.
really lends itself to
yeah.
it.
I saw it. So there are a lot of lighting effects because I saw some
Yep.
of the photographs, and we're going for some extremes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so exciting, and I props to Siobhan. She's an excellent actor.
Yes.
She appeared in Cry It Out that I directed up at Homemade, and she did our Mother Effer with the hat, Harbinger's production last summer. But I admire the confidence and the courage to go into a production and just say, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's very outside of the box.
Her direction is great because she's like, do your thing and then we'll talk about it.
It's very collaborative.
It's very collaborative, very character driven, and that I love character driven pieces
Same.
and character driven direction. You have the directors who say, well, at this point in the script, this is where you need to be, or this is where you need to be. It was none of that. I don't think I ever wrote a single line of actual blocking in the script that I thought was going to be what it was tonight. You know what I mean? Yeah. And every day I find myself in a new spot, but I've never worked in the round before.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is in the round, I find it so much more freeing.
It is.
And
You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about, I have to be facing
It
the
is
Oh, yeah.
the Nathan Lane quote, every seat is bad.
It's
I'm kidding.
It's great. Well, no, that's the thing.
I
my
can't,
friends-
I can't worry about being open.
Two of my friends came to the show last night, and I said, they're like, where should we sit? I said, you can sit in any one of the seats that's in the space.
In a seat. That's where you should sit.
You can't sit on any of the seats that are on the stage.
The building.
In the building.
You can't sit on
in
any.
a seat particular. Like,
Yeah,
to
but
be
no,
more
her
specific.
direction is very collaborative, and
Very
it's
cool.
great. The way and the end product is just
Yeah,
it's a lot because of her.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's neat. You have Siobhan picked the show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, she was talking about it right at the end of Mother Effer last year, how she was
Yeah.
thinking she really wanted to do it, and she had submitted it to Confetti.
It was something I had mentioned
Oh, really?
in passing because I was like, one of my favorite shows that I've ever done is Cuckoo's Nest. And so she started looking into it and was like, I could pitch this. I could do it. I think it would make for a really good show.
Yeah,
And yeah, she pitched it to Confetti.
And then she told me about it, and I said, well, that's a bucket list role for me, so you just tell me where and you're doing it, and I'm going to come into auditions. So
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Awesome. That's nice. That's nice. Usually, when I think of Cuckoo's Nest, I did Cuckoo's Nest. It was the first play I ever did.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
the post from that.
Colony Youth Summer Theater. Yeah, it was like a playground production. So there were all these kids. We had like a 15-year-old martini with a mustache pasted on. I was 16 playing Ruckley. Yeah,
Ah.
it was like
You had the best part in the show, in my opinion.
yeah, and talk about learning lines.
With that,
Got one line.
Build
us
up.
He's crucified on the wall. The whole
Did you
thing.
nail it?
well, I think the hard part about that part is about the part of Ruckley's. Where does the line come in? He says it 5 or 6 times. I don't.
Timing.
Yeah.
Timing.
I always I found myself this week pausing because I'm like, doesn't he say it here? and for those of you watching, we can't tell you what the line is because it's not kosher to have on have on this podcast.
It's mother F of
Yeah. F them all.
Yeah. I remember my one piece of direction, and actually my director, his name was Tom Coon.
Oh.
But it wasn't his one piece of direction. He was a great director. But my favorite piece of direction was like pretend like you have a garden hose spraying in your face the entire show. And I was like,
Is there ever a day where he's like, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna bring a garden hose and that's what I want you to feel every single time.
That actually is actually I wouldn't have been surprised. The first community theater show I ever did was working at Albany Civic Theater. And I played the oldest. I was one of the youngest people in the cast, but I played the oldest character in the show. I played a retired man, grandfather. He's reminiscing about his grandkids. And in order for me to get the movement down, they actually strapped weights to my ankles so my feet would drag across the floor.
nice.
I had him for like 2 weeks before they took him off, and it was just dragging across the floor. So there are directors that will do that.
I've seen it. In high school, we did Cinderella, and one of my friends, Izzy Cavada, she actually was one of the stepsisters, and they wanted her to walk like her legs were stuck together like from her thighs to her knees. So they literally, during the show, they taped her legs together so that she could walk like that.
Oh my god.
That's not.
They wanted her to walk
Why?
funny, and I don't know, but I
They wanted her to walk funny.
But it was like, wow, that's like a great idea. Like it's different ways to do it. Like I've seen people do this at different, like,
isn't it?
No, but it was like they all like agreed. They're like, this is a great idea. Like it works for her character. And I'm like, this is fantastic, and I think it's great. And I was like, this is like, listen, I think if you're willing to try it and commit to it, let's do it.
Excellent.
I think that's awesome.
What high school is this?
Saratoga High.
All right, we're calling child services. Excellent.
But can I at least try it on my own first?
Did you guys see the high school music theater awards? Was it skewed towards the North Country, like Glens Falls and Saratoga?
I
No,
didn't see them. I don't know.
I know Glens Falls won quite a few.
actor and production.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I didn't see.
I was kind of surprised. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was a lot of North Country.
Is there a I guess a distance from here that actually?
Yeah, I don't know what their parameters are.
Got it.
There were
go-
21 high schools.
Yeah.
I just learned for the first time that the tiers, they
Mm-hmm.
have different tiers. It's not based on size. It's based
Really?
on finances.
Really?
Oh,
budget.
that
Yeah.
makes so
Yeah,
much
I guess.
so-
Because I guess you
Because
can't.
I was
That
looking
makes
at
a
it.
lot of sense, actually.
Colony
That
High
makes a
School
lot of
was in
sense.
tier B, and I was like,
And Chanel, but you can't. Yeah, because you can't put something like Colony in the same, I guess, bracket or tier as something like Shenandoah. They have them with more money.
yeah.
The production values
Well,
are gonna.
Shenandoah had like 180 kids on stage. I mean,
God.
not in the cast.
Yeah.
But like
Crew.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
Yeah,
saying
no,
the cast
everything.
alone.
Everything.
I
No,
was
the
like,
cast-
wow.
The cast
That's
was
more
like
than my graduating class.
the cast was like
only-
60, 70.
60
something.
people.
If only community theater
my
could
graduating
find
class.
the
Yeah.
backstage staff that high schools have,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We always think like that, You got to get college kids involved. It's like,
If 17 people just doing sound alone,
if they're not getting credit, let's give them college credit.
give them credit.
Yeah, why
Building
not?
a set.
Yeah, that's why I'd be happy with that.
What school did you go to, Sydney?
I went to Whitehall Central School.
Excellent.
I went to Ichabod Crane.
Oh,
There are now a lot of people
Oh,
listening
Ichabod.
right now that say
The
you guys were closed all the time.
Snow day
Snow
school.
capital.
Yep. Look,
Yeah.
while all of you were enjoying your February break and your
All right.
spring break, we were making up days.
Oh, wow.
But imagine my shock when I saw Ichabod and realized it is on a flat stretch of road.
yeah,
We
I
have
was like,
one main road.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
Yeah.
You do.
And everything else is
Well, my
back
friend
roads.
Anna White is from Valencia, so
Okay.
I drove over there quite a bit when we were.
Yeah.
She
Valencia.
lives in New York City now.
Do you know
but
Valencia has a community theater?
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah, it's a
I
very,
saw an
very small,
advertisement
very,
for
very
it.
small.
Doing Urinetown, I think.
Yeah, because
You're in town.
I was so
Very tiny venue, though.
It's so
Yeah, I've
far
been
away,
there.
but I was so close to auditioning for
They
it.
did a play called
a-
Ella
such a good
Ungovernable
Yeah.
because Ella Fitzgerald has a history in the area. She was in a reform school or something in the area. So it was a local tie. Hey, you know, hey.
Hey.
So this is how I change beats.
Very subtle.
Hey.
Hey. That was great.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's like somebody
That
held
was
up a
great.
sign that says
Hey.
Back from our sponsors. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat is another of the dozen shows playing this
is.
weekend. Opening tonight at Schenectady Light Opera Company. All our good friends there. Hello, Jeffrey Hawking, Mr. Mayor. They are sold
completely
out
sold
the
out.
entire run.
That might be the first time in a long time.
I believe it is. Jeffrey gave me some figures on Facebook because I was like, congratulations. Has that ever happened? And he said they've had some sellouts
Right.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but was it the entire run?
And was it before they opened?
Yeah.
And I don't believe
so.
I don't believe
That's-
any of them sold out.
They're
before
selling
Crazy.
balcony seats that they haven't sold in a long time.
There are seats like hidden seats.
Like on the side.
On the side.
oh,
Yeah,
those.
the balcony,
I sat in
yeah.
those
Then the
once.
pits on the other side.
Yeah. I sat in those for
Although
Footloose.
the four balcony
I would
seats.
sit up there.
Colin Joya.
Although they did say their 4 balcony seats just became available, they could be in the regular balcony.
One of my
I'm not
one of my
sure.
kids who's playing Mini Me was in
Oh, I didn't
played
know
one of
that
the
they didn't
Matildas.
sell those
Yeah.
right- that
They
makes
used to,
sense.
but
was a
they
great
just
show.
after,
So
I think
great.
after COVID they didn't need to.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense.
but no, it's another one of those shows that I know a lot of people in, and I wish I could see.
Yeah.
But
But
I know it's gonna. My wife saw it yesterday at the preview, and she said it was very
You know,
good.
so when this confluence happens, and it happens at least, once a month, that there are a bunch of shows all opening around the same time. Beyond this, Play It Again, Sam, is opening at Schenectady Civic Players. I'm going down tonight to see It's Only a Play. Two of Us Productions. There's still running POV over at Creative Action Unlimited and In Camera at Troy Foundry Theater. And I know there's another.
I wouldn't be shocked if there was more.
No, there is
12
I counted
productions
them.
this
There
weekend.
is 12.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, and people will say, we need a calendar so that people can spread out their productions. And it's like, there really aren't a lot of available dates.
No.
It's not how that works, unfortunately. I wish it was. And
And if there's anybody in the community who knows if there's available dates, it's Patrick White.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah, I mean, I think, there are available dates, and some of that requires you to tech on Easter Sunday
Yeah.
or on Christmas Day.
Mother's Day this weekend.
Yep.
Or perform,
Yeah.
which is not ideal. But so these productions like smash into each other, and I'm like, so 12 productions. I mean, there are at least that many when the high schools are running, but we're all expecting each other to support
Yes.
each other.
Which I think we all do.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, we wouldn't be
yeah.
here.
Absolutely, which I love the Facebook posts too. I think it's either you or someone's like, "What show are you going to see this weekend?" And it
That's
opens me
Patrick.
up because I'm recently getting back to the theater game. I haven't done this in 6 years, and seeing all these shows happening, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that was happening. I've never heard of this company. This is really great to know."
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about that Facebook page.
And thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know who does it.
Whoever runs it is a genius.
That
but-
masked
10
man
out of 10.
behind the Facebook page.
Don't pay no attention to the man behind the Facebook page.
Ooh. Yeah, but so there are these 12 productions opening, and one of them, probably in one of the largest houses, has sold out the entire run.
Fantastic.
They have a cast of 40 they have a well-known title.
Yeah.
I asked Jeff, who's the box office manager and is appearing in the play as Potiphar.
Potiphar.
Yeah.
I don't know my Bible. It's a well-known title. It's cast of 40. Is that it?
I don't know. They sell really well anyway.
I was gonna say they already do well for
But
themselves.
I mean, I think they have some kids in the show too. But
Yep.
so do you. But Not So Common always sells well, but they don't charge admission.
Right.
So
yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't-
I'm like, well, we're free.
I think most of the complaints about the multiple shows a weekend is because like people like me or Sid or Isabelle want to go see other shows, but we can't because they're the direct conflicts. But the fact that people are still seeing shows, and if I was not in any of these shows, I could probably see 5 or 6 of them in this weekend.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's really, I don't know if it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's better than not being able to see anything.
Yeah.
I think
Not
it's
seeing
better
anything.
to see how many shows there are still
Options.
happening even after COVID with everything. I didn't think theater was going to be the same.
People
once
are still,
and the fact that it is like hearing that there's 12 shows going on this weekend. Yes, it sucks if you're in one of the shows and you want to go support your friends, but at the same time, this is great because we're all getting back to where we originally were, doing what we love, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Even if we can't necessarily be there physically, we are there spiritually.
I think the marketing for most companies is getting a lot better too.
I'm going to attend a lot of shows spiritually.
yeah.
Wait, does that count as your total
am,
number?
yes.
Is that part of your total
Yes,
number, Patrick?
Yes. I'll
I will
have
be at
I'll
all
have
12
physical attendance.
in
Spiritual
Spirit.
attendance. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm spiritually attending you.
But yeah, I mean,
I've had friends say that. I'm spiritually attending. I'm with you in spirit.
No, seriously, and as much as people laugh at that, it's just I am genuinely
I
thinking
would be
about you
there.
guys, and I hope your run goes fantastic.
That's what I say.
everybody this
Absolutely.
weekend.
I say it to everybody. If I can't see their show, I'll message them and be like, have a great run. Unfortunately, I can't be there, but I know you're gonna kill it.
Absolutely. But no, it is a great. It is a great thing. We've got Joseph, we've got Gypsy. If you're into musicals, Cuckoo's Nest or Play It Again, Sam, you got choices. Two, like I wrote a review for Nippertown, 2 world premieres out in Troy, Troy Foundry and Creative Action Unlimited.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, it's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So,
No, hey.
Hey.
You can do my hey.
What? I'm so.
Will that be my co-host?
Sure, I will.
Yeah,
Sure, I will. If you can get me out of work
Isabelle.
every Friday, I'm good with that.
the Isabelle and Patrick show. Excellent. So, I forgot already. A podcast is a perfect vehicle for your memory test. Because you'll get in, you'll start telling a story and say, what's his name? What high school did you go to?
Saratoga High.
Saratoga High. See, if I gave some dead air to that, I would have come up with it. But, I'm so afraid of the dead air. So Saratoga High, is that where you discovered theater or earlier or?
I think I've always loved to perform and sing. That's what my parents have always told me. And then I went to St. Clement's for elementary school, and they put me in my first show. I don't think it was like a music. I don't even remember what it was, but I think my first musical was at Spa Catholic. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was school wait, what is that TV show?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse, thank
Schoolhouse
you. It took me a
Rock,
second, but we got there. And it was just,
Wow.
it was a
See
small
what I
show.
mean about podcasts and memory
Yeah,
tests?
thank you. No,
Yeah.
and then after that, it just kind of took off. I mean, I remember.
So how old? What grade in Schoolhouse Rock?
I think that was 7th grade.
Lolly, lolly, lolly,
Yeah.
get your adverbs here.
Yep. I sang interjections, very,
Oh,
very,
I'm
very-
just a bill.
yes, I'm only.
But
But I haven't, I went to school, I went to Dean College for 2 years, and my first show was Into the Woods, and I played the baker's wife, and that was a great
Nice.
time. And then I actually got into more plays than musicals, which surprised me because I always was convinced by myself that I was a better singer than actor. So that's why it kind of threw me off that I was put into more plays than musicals, which made me feel better and feel more confident. I was like, maybe I can do both. And I didn't. And then I discovered my love for the outdoors, and I took a 6-year hiatus after that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So when did you come back?
This past June.
With Sound of Music?
Yes.
She only goes for the big role.
I mean, go big or go home. What you know?
Where you played Maria.
Yes, I did. It was.
Man.
It was it. I you know what's funny? I've always loved the Sound of Music, and I always thought to myself when I was younger, I was like, Maria would be a fun role, but it's not like something I was like, I need to be her.
I must be Maria.
I think it just came at the right time for me. I was still in a place where I was working at Killington Mountain Resort in Vermont. I was living there during the winter, and I was doing my thing, making money, but I was like, all right, what am I doing? And I was kind of, well, I'm going home. I don't really have anything planned. And then I actually saw an audition for Sound of Music in Maine, and I was like, not really doing anything right now. I drove to Maine and auditioned, and didn't work out. It was which is okay. But I had a feeling it was gonna come back. I just didn't know when. And ironically, Homemade Theater was doing it, and I was very excited.
How long after the main audition was that?
You mean that was actually the main audition I think was in September, and then the audition for this one was at the end of January of this last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so you went away to school, came back, did the Woods.
Yep.
And then
Now we're kind of back in theater, which is crazy, and I'm really happy about that. And it makes it definitely Sound of Music was just the most amazing experience. I couldn't have asked for a better production.
Oh,
It was fantastic.
excellent. I'm really happy too. I can't wait to see Gypsy.
Yeah. Are you gonna come? Or are you coming
yeah.
spiritually? Because here's the thing. I'll be. I will.
Thanks for giving me that out. No, the price is right. No, I
absolutely.
always go to Not So Common shows.
No, absolutely. Like, it's one of those things. Like, listen, if you can't make it, I get it. There's so many shows. Because I actually never heard of your show before. I'm not very familiar with plays.
That's really fair.
It's just something that, like,
You've never heard of Cuckoo's Nest?
maybe I have, but
It's
it's
a movie and a book.
Yeah,
as well.
it's an Academy Award-winning movie.
maybe I personally,
book.
I havenent. I remember I've been out of the
mean,
theater game for like
I don't
6
know.
years.
No, it's an older title. It's
But it's nice to, like, because if I'm being honest, from what I'm seeing from auditions, I don't see a lot of plays. Maybe it's just because I mainly go for musicals, and usually when you're on Facebook, it generates what you like. So
you did so well with plays in college.
I guess so. Apparently,
I really think you should get back into the plays.
Absolutely, it's nice to hear that that's going on around here too.
They're, in my opinion, I think I get much more. I learn a lot more by doing a play.
Yeah.
Than I've ever. I mean, I love musicals. I love
played
musicals.
the Baker.
I played the Baker.
Oh, did you really?
At SLOC in 2017, I think.
Let's get the band
And
back.
it was a wonderful experience. But plays, there's something about plays, and I've just recently started going back into plays and steering a little away from musicals. But I love plays. I love the experience you get from it. It's because you're not. I can sing. I mean, I've never had any qualms about my singing voice, but there's something about plays that just hits you differently when you're doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely been more intriguing because, like, don't get me wrong, I love my musicals, and that's what I thrive off of.
Yeah.
I love it, but
Yeah.
I have learned to break down characterization more, and I've actually found it harder to learn lines in a play than a musical. And I don't know why. I think it's just because I expect
I get it.
there be a break for music.
Yeah.
There's no. I'm not.
Where's the interlude?
And I don't want it to seem like I
Give
think
me
that
interlude.
musicals are easier, because I don't think musicals are easier than plays. They're just a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think, I know you don't have the scenes in musical that you have in plays as far as, pages
Yeah.
of dialogue. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cuckoo's Nest actually had to be broken down in a weird way because the way that the play is written, there's no distinct scenes.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have like, this is scene 1, this is scene 2. We kind of had to break it down by sections and who's in what section and who enters where, and because it all takes place in just that one day room. And stuff moves around occasionally, but we had to break it down in a way that not a lot of plays that I've been in did. And I've done quite a few plays, so it was interesting to kind of learn how to exist within that, where it was just, here's the page number, here's who's in it.
When did you get bit by the bug?
So, like really young. Even before I was like in musicals, my sister and like all of the neighborhood kids, we used to put on like these musicals, they were jukebox musicals essentially. So we would have like our neighbors playing Anna and Hannah, the twins, and they come up and what is that? Love Shack starts playing.
So this was of your own devising? You would just pick out songs and then create a story?
Yeah.
That's a musical.
That's
That
a
is
musical.
very much a musical.
So we did our own like production of Wizard of Oz when I was like 5, I want to say. It got canceled because one of the neighbors.
Wait.
This one's interesting. One of our neighbors who played the Wicked Witch was allergic to the face paint that she used, and she was so violently ill that we couldn't do it. And we ended up like doing it later, but we were like, the Wicked Witch is just regular flesh tone now because she's allergic to this face paint apparently.
Oh my god.
And it makes her wickeder.
Yeah, she's even more wicked because now she's mad.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
And I was like 5, I want to say, when that happened. And then I started doing like actual theater in elementary school into high school because my school was so small that it was like 7th grade through 12th were the only people who were doing the theater productions because we didn't have a middle school. We just had an elementary school and a high school. But I think the first show, Music Man, they brought up children to be part of it because they needed more people to like fill out the ensemble. So it kind of pushed back where they were like, okay, we can have 6th graders in here, we can have 5th graders in here.
Too much empty space.
Our school was so small that they needed people to like be on the stage and be part of the big dance numbers and everything. So I think that was where it really started. I didn't do a play till I was in college though. And that was kind of where I figured out, I was like, oh my God, wait, I really like plays. Because I had only ever done musicals because our school only did musicals. And the first show I was in, the first play I was in is called Hearts Like Fists. Don't know if anyone knows that. If you didn't, I wouldn't be surprised.
Vaguely familiar.
I played Jasmine. I was a crime fighter. That's also where my love of fight choreography came from. I'm like, I get to have swords in this?
That is so much fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. That's also one of the reasons I came to audition for She Kills Monsters was because I love that show. Tilly was one of my dream roles, which I did get to play. So that was fun. But it was definitely like plays are kind of my bread and butter. I love musicals, don't get me wrong. Love to dance on the stage, love to sing on the stage, but I think for myself, I kind of prefer plays because I love that really like deep characterization and exploration of the characters that you get in a play that sometimes you don't get in a musical because you're busy singing and dancing because it's more about the singing and dancing than it is about most of the individual characters.
Yeah. Where'd you go to college?
I went to SUNY Adirondack.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Ruth Lieberman was the director there, which is also why we didn't do any musicals because she hates musicals. I don't know why, but she
Not everybody's cup of tea.
It's not everybody's
It's
cup
not.
of tea, and she was the like main. Jana also was another person who was involved in it, but we did Hearts Like Fists. The Laramie Project was another one that we did.
Project.
Yeah, we did.
That's the first thing I ever directed in community theater.
Oh, really? Yeah. Hearts Like Fist is a fun show. The book is not super strong, but it's a fun show to watch because there's a lot of fight choreography. It's set up like a comic book.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was a lot of fun to be in. It was a really fun show to do. I did have to pin curl my hair every day, so it was like this big, like,
Oh,
fluffy.
no.
Because they were like, we just loved how your hair looked that one day. I'm like, that's not my natural hair.
Yeah.
So I had
Looks
to,
so
I
cute.
had to straw curl my hair every night. So I was like up at like midnight, like,
Oh my
alright, show's
god!
tomorrow,
At
guys, let's
midnight.
go. Yeah, it was really-
Midnight.
'cause
Oh my god!
This-
See,
Thanks.
I'd feel. I'm
this
sorry.
is
No.
my- this is my natural
My hair's
hair
exactly the way I
texture.
want it when I get up in the morning.
No, this
Aren't
is,
you lucky duck?
Oh, nice. Must be nice.
Must be. Thank you. Like you, we get. We
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I
Like my
couldn't
hair
do that.
loads to hold any kind of texture. This is my natural hair, but yeah, they wanted that like really curly, like tight ringlets. So I was up every night before the show doing
Buy
that.
me a wig.
Right?
You guys want me to have curly hair? Go ahead. It's in the budget.
Excellent. So you directed Laramie at Albany Civic?
That was my, that was my first community theater directing gig.
And that was a great production.
I just love the setup of,
Kevin
of the
Barhite,
show.
Kevin McNamara.
I had a pretty A-list cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an easy show to direct when you have a cast that's like that. I mean, you've directed enough to know that phrase, direction is 99% casting is pretty true. I mean, I don't know how it is with. I don't know if that's the truth with the musical per se, but with a strong, smart cast in a play, I think that's what we had in Cuckoo's Nest. We had people who were willing to make choices and willing to, do things, and then, be told, bring it back, or no, I don't like that, or whatever. But
there are actors who are exceptional actors, but sometimes they don't fit.
Yeah.
Whatever project you're working on, and directors need to bring them. And you're talking about two, I think, wildly different. Like, it's not so easy to act in the round.
no,
And and also the presentational nature of Laramie Project. Some people, I think, can take to it and will do very well, and it seems simple enough to direct. But some people, coming out and looking into the audience and delivering your monologue.
there's no dialogue really at all in the show.
Some people can
really?
do it. And some
Wow.
people will
Yeah.
shy away from that.
Yeah.
So
tough.
it does
Grab the bull by the horn situation.
You're representing real people on a real situation on something that actually happened, and they're just. I think it's basically a series of interviews.
Yeah.
Yep.
That the Tectonic Theater Project did.
Gotcha.
And it's all spliced into one cohesive story from beginning to end, kind of thing. It's and they actually wrote a sequel. I don't know if you've ever read it.
I think that's why I love
10 years.
plays, because it just you could do a play in whatever form you want. It's not like there has to be a story and then you have to start singing. It's just, we're doing all these interviews, but all the stories, like, it's like they're telling it from a different point of view. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
right.
I'm not saying musicals can't do that, but because I would kind of like what was it? I think it was the last 5 years that I'm thinking of. It's like kind of something similar to that, but it
starts like this and goes
but
like
I
that.
love shows like that because it's different and it's unique, and that's why I love that.
Which actually kind of finally cracked my resistance to musicals, was that plays can all do those different sorts of things. They could be, kitchen sink, or they can be audience interactive, immersive. It's like, and then I thought, well, musicals are just doing that, but they have a song as well, and that's part of the expressive nature of it. And actually, it was Into the Woods, I think, that actually cracked my, resistance, is I saw the original cast on Broadway. And after I saw it and started going to musicals, I started kicking myself because I had already lived in the city for a few years and I missed Dreamgirls, Sunday in the Park with George. I had missed these iconic shows that once I started going to musicals, going, oh, that's what's happening. I was like, damn. But, because I couldn't sing, it was like, oh, I guess that's not for me. But it turned out to be for me.
Yeah.
And I enjoy them a great deal. I mean, some of the best shows I've seen have been musicals. They always wind up on my top 10 list. And I'm very excited to see Gypsy.
Yeah, I'm very excited for people to see it. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be great.
We saw a production at the Shaw Festival last summer.
Really?
Yeah, which it's like that's the way they approach it. It's like we saw a Bernard Shaw play, a Stoppard play, and Gypsy. Like, it's part of the canon.
Yep.
So it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cuckoo's Nest. Bucket list roll. Why?
Because I'm so totally opposite of who McMurphy is, and I don't know. I can't pinpoint one specific thing that's why it's a bucket list role for me, but it's one of those roles where you go, you see, and you're like, I'll play that role one of these days. I feel the same way about Jean Valjean in Les Mis.
Okay.
It's just one of those roles that I have to play, just to see if I can do it, and that's how kind of how I feel about it, because it's like, and if you asked me 10 years ago if I thought I could pull off something like McMurphy, I've been like, no. I'm not. It's not safe enough. And
So when did you experience it? When you felt like, oh, I have to play that?
Well, when I saw it on Broadway with Gary Sinise, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's how it. Because I had never actually seen I saw the movie, and Jack Nicholson. Yep. You can't compare anybody. No one can compare yourself to Jack Nicholson. Yeah. But I saw Gary Sinise, and not like I am comparing myself to Gary Sinise, but I'm like, all right. Someone else can do it just as well as Jack Nicholson did it.
Yeah. So there was an iconic production. I get that.
Yeah.
And then someone else could do an equally valid alternative. Did it in his own key.
Right.
And
And then I thought, well, I have if anybody ever around here ever does it, I have some interpretations that I'd like to try. Yeah. And now's my opportunity. Whether or not I pull it off, that's for the audience to decide.
I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
But yeah, there's a list of roles. And as you get older, there's a list of roles that you want to do, and that was just on the list. And
Valjean.
Yeah. Well,
Sydney, Nurse Ratched.
Yeah.
Is it equally buckety?
Yeah. So any production I had ever seen.
Fun of me, Patrick.
No.
She's so buckety. A lot of auditions I had seen in the area or even outside of the area, because sometimes if I really love a show, I'm like, show me every audition that's ever happened. Show me the ones in Texas. I'll drive. It's fine. I can afford a flight. But oftentimes Nurse Ratched is precast, which I understand, and I'm glad they're open about that. But when I was in it at Lags, her, McMurphy, and Billy are definitely three of my favorite characters. McMurphy and Ratched, I really like their dynamic because they're kind of just two sides of the same coin. Given each other's circumstances, it's almost like they would come out to be the same person, which makes them really interesting to me. And I think oftentimes when people portray Nurse Ratched, they portray her as just this straight cut and dry villain. She's just a bad person. And I don't love that interpretation just because she is a nurse. She is a caregiver. And you have to kind of think about when they're talking about electroshock therapy. This show takes place in the 60s where that was a viable way to help people. Obviously we know now with the benefit of hindsight that's not good. It didn't really help people. It hurt them. But you only ever
pretty common.
In the show, you only ever hear about shock therapy from the perspective of the patients who are obviously going to see it as a punishment. But from Nurse Ratched, it's I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to adapt them better to the outside world so they can go out and function within society.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to be the most sympathetic character, but I want there to be moments where people are like, oh, she's a human. She's a real person.
Yeah.
I don't love a cut and dry black and white villain.
We've had many conversations about the McMurphy Ratched relationship.
Yeah.
And I personally think that McMurphy's not the guy you want to root for at all.
I don't think Cuckoo's Nest has heroes. I don't think it has villains. It has two protagonists and everybody that gets caught in their wake.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I really love it.
We essentially are trying to do the same thing for the same people, but we're approaching it in two different ways that neither one of those people like about it, which is why we bump heads.
Neither one of them will budge.
Really, the solution is put your heads together, find a happy medium, and everyone's happy.
Oh my God!
But that's not how this show works.
Yes.
If they could have worked together and had a nice little sit down, I feel like maybe they could have.
That institution still be open now.
Too bad McMurphy didn't go to medical school.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's he's using. We had so many conversations about the relationship between those two.
Yeah, I believe that 100% that the people who rub you the wrong way or get under your skin, that it's something within you that you're reacting to. You know, if you didn't identify something within yourself, you just walk by it. You know,
It would be a real short play.
it wouldn't make any impression on you whatsoever. But because there's something that you see about yourself, that's what, you know, lights the spark.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, sets you off against one another. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. Louise, you said you were dying for Gypsy. Is this what you were? You set your cap on? Yeah.
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 The minute I saw the West End version, I'm dying.
You know who played it?
At the West in the West
Yeah.
End? Yeah, she played. Well, oh no, who played?
Imelda Staunton played
Yeah,
Mama
I
Rose.
actually don't remember her name.
Yeah, no, that's fine. They're British.
Who cares?
No, I mean they've got their own careers,
I know,
and
and-
you know they're probably on EastEnders or something.
Yeah.
You know, but why should we know their
Yeah.
names?
I just don't, unfortunately.
That's fine.
No.
Yeah.
Cool. So you've wanted to play Louise, and what do you see about Louise's journey?
I just love the change she goes through. That is probably because it's not that she just goes through a mental change, but she goes through a physical change. Her like, at least what I'm doing is what they did in the West End. Her voice drops, her posture becomes more dominant. She finds who she is as a person, and that is something that she has not known her entire life. All she has known is what Mama has told her to be. Even though she hates it, that's where which I think it's very ironic. I'm a girl who loves musicals and I'm playing a woman who hates them, which is so ironic. But it was just, I loved that scene at the end, that dominating scene.
Yeah.
And it's, which people haven't seen. I'm not trying to spoil it, but it's that moment where she kind of lays the nail into the coffin, like, this is how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And I think me and Corey have a very good, strong, like, dynamic with each other, because I feel like if one of us is not on the same page as the other, it can be very not
Well,
there.
when you share a scene with somebody for most of the show, you have to have chemistry.
Yeah.
If her and I didn't like have these conversations and talk
Yeah.
so well to each other and act and be able to give and take so well, the show would be like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you gotta have that chemistry with your scene
Absolutely. It's just, especially because the show is, we actually started with this scene in rehearsal. We just got right down to the nitty-gritty, like, let's just get into this stuff so we can slowly work on it throughout the process. And I remember we were both very emotional and very, like, taking in all this, like, I'm like, we have to do this, like, more times than one, and it's just so emotionally draining, yelling at each other, and it's just a back and forth and just, especially because some of these lines are so repetitive, you have to remember which ones you're supposed to stay in which scene, especially for Mama. Oh my God, she has so many of the same. If she says you're going to be a star, like, I'm pretty sure 50 times in the entire show, it's just always, it was just, I love the way that she changes, Louise does. And I can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah.
So.
When you just talking about changing your posture and you threw your shoulders back, like, oh, hello.
Yes. Sorry. I'm
No. I sold a ticket.
Yeah.
If they were selling tickets.
Well, we're selling. We got dinners at the Edison Club.
Oh, yeah.
Which
I don't understand that.
So
but-
it's. Yeah, no, they do, like, it's just, like, I think it's a dinner that if you make a reservation, you get to reserve, like, you get your seat to be guaranteed. So you get to
but you have dinner first in the other side of the club.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it.
I think I had to have it explained to me too.
I went to
It's
Little
different,
Shop.
but I think it's actually brought in a lot of people.
So you're really paying for a dinner in the show. Is really what
Basically,
how it
yes,
works.
except you're not paying for the ticket. But it's
Right.
definitely, the club loved it because it's brought in so many
Yeah,
people
yeah,
they've never known. People
No,
come
that's
back
great.
and it's
Great.
But yeah. But did
it's-
you come see Little? Did
I'm
I
just
not see you at
dense.
Little Shop?
You did not see me.
Why?
No, I was there because I was wearing my spiritual mask. I love Little Shop.
Oh my God, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Great time. Such
Yeah.
a blast.
Yeah, it's great, and I thought it was a cool space. It's my first time there.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite stories, showbiz stories of all time, is about Gypsy. Mary Darcy interviewed Stephen Sondheim at Hudson Valley 15 years ago, something like that. And she asked him what his definition of genius was. And Stephen Sondheim talked about Gypsy and about finishing the show, and they couldn't get it, and they were in the theater, and it's, 11 o'clock at night, him and Jerome Robbins. And he's like, what are we going to do here? How are we going to end this play? And he goes, well, we need to have Mama have a breakdown. And Jerome Robbins started going, Mama's getting hot, Mama's getting hot. And they sort of vamped it. Mm-hmm. And Jerome Robbins just acted out, the entire song. Yeah. They put it together, and he goes, that's genius. Is like he just was endlessly creative.
Mm-hmm. It's that song is so intense. Not saying any of her songs are not, but it's that song is not only a beast of a song, but it's so emotional. And I give Corey props every single night for doing it because it's so draining.
And she's got to do it after singing and acting and dancing for 2.5 hours.
She's
already.
Also so intense for 2.5 hours. It's never like it's a calm moment. Maybe an occasional calm moment, but it's always at this level. Yeah. No matter whether she's happy, which is very rare, or she's like intense, and it's just I feel like people will go in being like, when is the branch really going to snap?
There's only a few people in that I know in the Capital District who can pull that role off, and Corey's definitely one of them.
Oh, absolutely. She's doing fantastic, and my whole cast is really taking this and grabbing this show by the horns. Same with yours. I'm really intrigued by your show, and I'm really bummed I can't go.
Yeah.
Thanks for introducing me tonight, because now I can't go.
No, that's what this podcast is for. It's to get everyone really bummed. Yeah. No,
this is
or
sad
debummed. I'm debummed. I am debummed that I can't see your show. No, I'm going to change the name of the podcast. It's like debummed. Debummed.
The play that
the shows we can't go see.
I'm sorry that you all have to spiritually attend this.
Yeah. No,
Sydney.
Hey.
What is the play that changed your life?
So it's going to sound so stereotypical and so scripted.
We love that.
But it is Cuckoo's Nest. So I did Cuckoo's Nest when I was 19. And I walked into that audition room. I was so late. I'm so sorry, JJ.
Yeah, JJ needs apologies for lateness.
I was literally, so I was in Hearts Like Fists at the time because I was in college. I was 19 years old, and I wanted so badly to audition for the show. I knew Nurse Ratched was precast. I was like, that's fine. I want to play Billy Bibbit. I want to play Billy Bibbit so bad. Let me at it. I went into that audition room. I was the last person to audition because I was so late, and I got cast off of that. And that was the play that showed me just how much of an impact you can have on a character as a character on an audience. Because there were people that did not know me that came to see that show that went off sobbing. One of my favorite parts of the show, maybe it's a little sadistic, but I went off stage after the thing that happens to Billy. And
you can say it. You don't know what happens at this point for this story. That's what I'm telling people.
Adam!
Spoilers don't exist with shows this old.
Isabelle, do you know what happens to Billy?
No, I don't. I've never seen
Don't say what happens to
after Billy.
Although she's not attending.
After Billy's like
spiritually, she would be spoiled.
This quintessential scene near the end of the show that Billy is in, and I went off stage, and all I can hear is the entire audience just like sobbing, and I was like, that was a moment where I was like, I did a good job, and this is what all of my roles I want them to feel like. Like I love being able to have such an emotional impact on people that don't know me, on people that like came to see the show and didn't know what was going to happen or did know what was going to happen. It was just a really it was really a turning point for me to be like, wow, this is what theater can be, and this is what I want theater to always be.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't think we spoke about it, but you knew about Cuckoo's Nest before you auditioned for it. When did you first experience Cuckoo's Nest, and Billy Bibbit was the role that...
Billy Bibbit was the role that I played, yeah. I had seen the movie with Jack Nicholson quite a while ago, and then because I really liked the movie, I saw it in early high school, I want to say. I read the book. The book is completely different from the movie because it's told from Chief Bromden's perspective, who is a schizophrenic in the book. So he's kind of an unreliable narrator, which I like. It's interesting to have a perspective of someone who maybe you can't quite believe, which is nice and interesting, and you don't see that a lot. I think the only book I can think of that also has that is an Agatha Christie book where it's told from the perspective of the murderer. So he's lying to you the entire book.
Oh, yeah, Roger Ackroyd.
Yeah,
right?
The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. And
She's in the public domain, so
she's in the We Can
a lot
Have
of
Her.
different versions.
Let me add.
Maybe a musical.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
Awesome.
So, and then I saw the auditions for it at Local Actors Guild, and I was like, oh, I mean, I gotta try out. I could try out. This is sports now.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you wanted to play this? I forgot the name of the role.
Billy Bibbit.
Billy, is that who you're playing now?
No, I'm playing Nurse Ratched
So
now.
did you go into this audition being like, did you want to play Billy again, or did you want to try out this?
I would have absolutely played Billy again. Billy is a character that is incredibly challenging and emotionally draining to play because not only is he like this character that's at a constant level of like high anxiety, fight or flight constantly, he also has a stutter.
Oh my
So
god.
a really bad stutter. And it is always hinted that it's like anxiety induced, but Billy's always anxious. So it's like you're going through this entire show. And while the stutter is written into the script, I think it always sounds better if someone just does it where it feels right. When I played Billy, I watched a lot of videos of people who had like actual stutters because I wanted to do it justice. I didn't want to sound like someone who's making fun of it. I wanted to sound like someone who actually had a stutter. And one of the things I noticed is that if you have a really bad anxiety-induced stutter, you often don't do the t as much as you'll do it. It's literally like you're choking on your own words.
Wow.
So at the like really, really high anxiety points, it was almost like I was just like fighting for my life to get through these lines.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had asked like how I had done that. And I'm like, well, I mean, I literally just listened. I was listening to people who had stutters. There's a musician that my father had shown me. He's like, well, this musician has a stutter. So if you want to listen to his interviews, it was really helpful. I wish I could remember his name, but it was very helpful in listening to it.
Did you talk to your Billy in your production?
I did. I was actually asked to, but because I'm like, I don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah, sure.
But one of my biggest like pointers for her was you don't have to do the stutters that are written into the script because if you do that, I've found that it will always sound forced.
Yep.
Especially because they'll write it like at the beginning of sentence, randomly in the middle of sentence, and it's always a stutter like oh, what are you doing? Which happens. That is a kind of stutter, but it will always sound forced if you're reading it off the script and you're like, here is where I have to stutter. And it also creates a lot of anxiety for the actor. At least it did for me, trying to remember just exactly where that stutter was, which is kind of why I chose to put it in where it felt right, put it in moments of high anxiety.
I remember that youth production I did. The 13-year-old was always forcing it.
Yeah, like
he was going straight for the consonants.
It's hard to fake a stutter, but if you do it well,
Well, I think
it's very rewarding to have
it's
people.
easy to fake a stutter.
I mean,
and that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
Our Billy in this production, I think, does it very well.
I think Emily does a really good
Emily
job.
does it
yeah.
really well. Emily Christ is her name.
Yeah, she also did my hair.
Oh,
She's a hairstylist because this was blonde and now it's gray. I wanted
nice.
some gray in there.
Adam Coons.
It's me.
What is the play that changed your
So
life?
mine wasn't a play that I actually was in. It's one that I saw. I saw Next to Normal on Broadway.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first shows I ever saw where they actually depicted something real as opposed to like let's just suspend your disbelief for a little bit and say we're in flying carpets and, dancing camels and stuff. But this was real. I believe that this woman had a mental illness and that her struggle was affecting everybody around her. Like I sat in the theater at the end of the show probably for 10 or 15 minutes, didn't say a word. Because it was that powerful of a story and that real of a situation for me. Like I wasn't watching a Broadway musical. I was watching this family struggle through their mother's mental illness about her, her dead son and how she still sees him. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Spoiler.
Oh, it's
I don't have a mental
It's okay.
illness. I don't think
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I have a mental illness.
Nobody does.
So to watch
No, and then the songs come.
yeah, and
I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I miss the mountains, and you're like, oh.
God. Yeah, I'm like, this is real. Like, this could be a real story.
Yeah.
And it was like, I looked at the way I watch shows completely differently after that. And a little bit of how I actually performed, but it blew my mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's being done at Barrington Stage this summer.
Not.
What? Yeah.
Maybe I'll go.
Yeah. They've got a new artistic director there, Alan Paul. And they're doing it this summer. And the production has already been done in Washington, D.C. It's a co-production, and it got great reviews. And so,
Great.
yeah. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. So, what is the play
I mean,
that changed?
I wish mine was as deep as what you guys are saying.
Oh, you can embellish.
It can be so incredibly shallow.
But it's
Yeah.
on it. It was honestly, it was Sound of Music, and I think it's because of I went into that being I've always done shows where I was playing adult roles as a kid, and because I just remember it, like, in college you play these roles that you don't, because you're all college students. And then
Yeah.
you high school, it's the same thing. And when I went into this, I was like, I want to work with the kids because I want to see how it feels to be their adult with them playing kids and me playing their adult, because this is going to be different for me. First of all, the professionalism from these kids just astounded me from the moment we got there. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen. And I was lucky enough to work with 2 sets of kids. And I love them each. I love each of them individually so much, and I try to go see them whenever I can in shows. But it was a role that is very iconic that everybody knows. So everybody came to the show, I think, mainly for the music, but I wanted them to really enjoy the story, not just go for the music. Because I actually had a lot of people come who said they've never seen Sound of Music ever. I know, I know. I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that,
Don't
but
they own a TV?
that's what I thought. But no, it's okay. But and some people like, I've never seen this, but now, and then a lot of people come up to me, is like, I never liked this musical or musicals, but you changed my mind and it made it better. And watching Gypsy for the first time is when we broke down characters in that class. That's another musical that kind of changed my life, at least for the deeper side of it. Because when we were in that class, we were breaking down things like, all right, how do you think this person felt in this scene? Well, maybe they could have thought this. Well, maybe they were thinking this. And it made me look at different shows differently. And I'm like, oh my God, like maybe they were thinking this the whole time. They just didn't know it. And it was a different way to break it down. And I loved how emotional and how draining the show was. I was like, I want to be emotionally drained. I really want to do this show.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy I have the opportunity to do it. So both of those shows have really changed my life.
Yeah, awesome. Homemade Theater has been using different spaces
Yes.
since coming back from COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in the greenhouse of, what's it called?
Pitney Meadows.
Pitney Meadows. It's actually a greenhouse. Have you seen it?
It's an actual greenhouse. Man, I think I brought a photo. You can kind of see it in the background. But when I auditioned for this, and they said, I think it was either the first rehearsal or at the audition, they said, well, this is going to be in the round. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Because with no offense to anybody, but that is probably one of the last shows I would have ever expected to have done in the round. I think it's just because it's such a classic show. Everybody knows it. And when I heard that, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm trying to have an open mind. Once we got there and we had the room to play, like, yes, it was a unique experience, but it was really cool. I thought it was different. I love the fact that it was outside, considering the fact the first number, she sings about being in the hills and it's an open field, and it was beautiful. I will say what was incredibly intimidating is that it's the middle of May, so it's still light out. And when I walked out, all I see is everybody's face. And that is
no.
I walked out, I'm like, I've never felt nervous because you can't see people's faces in a theater. Well, you can, but, and I just
Not
see
like that.
everybody. My entire whitewater rafting crew is sitting front row. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
this is the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. And everyone asked me, how'd you feel? I'm like, I don't really know what just happened. I'm pretty sure I just blacked out. I don't know. But it was an incredible experience because it was different and unique, and it made sense where we kept it. And they're doing Secret Garden in there too.
Was it ever too warm?
Yes. I mean, it was always going to be warm no matter what. But the cool thing about Pitney Meadows is that the sides come up. So you can actually have air flowing through there, and the roof actually comes up a little bit. So if it starts to rain, they could pull the sheets on the side of the greenhouse down, or if it's kind of getting hot, especially for the matinees, they rolled up, and all this air was kind of blowing like maybe knee height.
Nice.
So it was a really cool space, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk about that because it was really nice.
Yeah. No, I looked at this space when I did Cry It Out up at Homemade before COVID. It was not going to be done. They scheduled it, and I was on the calendar, but it was not going to be done in the little theater.
Yeah.
We're going to do this show, but we don't know where. So I went around town, looking for spaces, and Pitney was one of the ones I explored. And I actually saw last summer the Orchard Project. Do you know them? They've been up in Saratoga for a few summers now, and they're like an arts incubator. They fund projects in the works, and a lot of really cool people bring different things up there. And at Pitney Meadows, there was this. They had a dinosaur barbecue truck, and you got dinner.
God.
And it was a hillbilly or bluegrass. Excuse me, a bluegrass Eugene Onegin, the Pushkin novel. And it was it was just different. But I saw a production in.
Very unique, very different.
Yeah, great space.
Yeah, especially
a lot of fun.
with Sound of Music, because you've seen people do Sound of Music as per usual, and it made it different.
And it sold out.
Yeah, it did.
I remember trying to get tickets, and I had to go spiritually.
I know. It was funny. So, I think a couple of my friends were lucky enough. My friends were like, "We have extra tickets. We can get you in there." And it was just my friends. We walked in. They were like, "Wait, this is where this is happening?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "This is incredible. It's different. It's unique. It's awesome." And honestly, when we first walked in there, I'm like, "This place is huge. I don't know how to I just when we were rehearsing in a smaller square or rectangle, and now we went to at least double the size, and I'm like, wow, you're really far away now. I gotta book it. But it was
it's a big
really
space.
really cool. It was a lot. I loved how close the audience was. I think it made it more intimate, which was a lot of fun.
Great. Well, opening night is less than 4 hours away.
Holy moly.
Oh my God.
I don't want to get you nervous or anything.
No, I'm not nervous.
I want you to have a fantastic opening night, have a fantastic run. I hope you get huge houses and all the acclaim that you deserve.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing both of you.
Thank you.
Thank
of
you.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Both
you.
productions. And thank you all for joining us, and I'll see you in a theater soon.